After 15 years of piloting and testing and trial and error, I'm very happy to announce that we found a cure for the growing despair with our politics and government. It's called the Civic Challenge, and it's a 2-year statewide campaign that gives every citizen the opportunity to weigh in, and a push to get our government and our politics out of the rut of rigid ideology and onto the path of pragmatic problem solving. Civic Challenge begins with a pledge. Let me read it to you, it's right here. The Civic Pledge is, I pledge to leave my community better than I found it by pursuing pragmatic solutions instead of just pointing out problems and assigning blame. This is a democratic values proposition that any citizen can make and challenge others to take as well. Our initial goal is 10,000 citizens taking this pledge and leading others in the state into a movement to better our democracy. This is a shift from our attention towards solutions. It's transformative. We no longer have to feel passive and frustrated. We can become actors in the fight to rebuild a healthy politics and government. Now, the power of the Civic Challenge comes from 3 sources. First is the power of its principles. The solutions that are advanced have to be evidence-based. Now, there's power in that just from the fact that it's not ideological. It's a solution that's based on evidence of success elsewhere. It's a proven solution, avoids the fight over ideology. The second principle is the solutions must be cost-effective. That avoids the typical fight over budgets and taxation. Cost-effective means that preferably it saves money, but at the very minimum, over time, it will not add to taxes and increase the budget. And the third, and perhaps the most important principle, is that the solutions be advanced with a no-blame approach. Now, this is not just courtesy. This is a politically strategic approach to keep the focus on solutions, to avoid being marginalized, to make sure that the public, the media, and the politicians keep their focus on the solution that's being presented. Now, the second source of power of the Civic Challenge is a power that comes from technology-enhanced ability to search for solutions and relatively new laws. Now, we all know about Google, and we know that we can search for solutions in other cities and similar communities to our own that have evidence of success. And they're out there. We just need to look for them. But we need to become aware that not long ago, government controlled all of its own information, and the public didn't have access to it. And public officials didn't allow citizens to speak at government meetings except in reaction to bills and ordinances that they were presenting themselves. Today, we have the power through the Open Public Records Act to go into the government and to get information on the current policy, the cost and staffing of that policy, the kind of information we need to build upon the current policy with the evidence-based solutions that we find. And we have the power to go into our local city government meetings and to initiate, literally introduce solutions where before we only could react. Now, there's a third source of power here, and we call it the Dream Team. It's a dream team of experts in local government law, policy, the implementation of policy, and media, who volunteer their time to work with citizens if they'll follow these principles in advancing their solutions. These 3 power sources are embodied in a 10-step discipline that has proven results. This 10-step discipline has allowed citizens to pass over 300 local laws on issues ranging from government contracting reform to public safety, to cost savings, to climate change adaptation. There's more that can be done on the local level than you might imagine, and these citizens are doing them using the powers of the Civic Challenge. Now, the goals of the Civic Challenge is really one, and that is to trigger a new kind of civic activism. in the great American tradition of community barn raising by inviting all citizens to reach into the robust online toolkit of do-it-yourself guides, manuals like the Citizens Manual here, and video classes, and access to coaches who will work with you as you develop the solutions. This type of effort can allow us to come together using the tool blocks to build 3 powerful building blocks for a solution-focused community. The first building block is a solution-focused civics class. Now, these civics classes can be offered to adults. We have teachers that will go to any organization that wants to have them, and to juniors and seniors in high school, as they fit very nicely into the social studies curriculum standards of our state. As Darren said, we need to restore civics if we're going to restore our democracy. The second building block is solution-focused local journalism. As most of you are aware, journalists, at least on the local level, are really short-staffed right now. They can cover the story, but they often don't have time to research alternative solutions. So we now have solutions news gatherers. These are citizens who take the civic pledge and who are willing to, whenever a story comes up where public officials are challenging each other on a given issue, to search for solutions that are based on evidence of success and inject them into the discussion. They do so by spreading them through social media. They do so through letters to the editor, and they can provide leads to local reporters that might not otherwise have the time to do this type of research, and bring the solution focus again to their community. And the third and final building block is very powerful. These are solution-focused civic trusts. These civic trusts are comprised of anywhere from 12 to 24 citizens who not only take the civic pledge to lead their community better than they found it and follow the principles of pragmatic problem solving, but who also commit themselves for anywhere from 1 year to 3 years to attend with their fellow civic trustees monthly solution sessions where they identify the issues that are most pressing in their own community, they search for the solutions that are out there, they use the principles to develop them, they work with the dream team, and they get results. In Trenton, where Darren's working, they're already building an auxiliary police force that not only can augment public safety, but can strengthen the ties between community and the police force. They've already passed a resolution that will help in the adaptation to climate change by allowing the city on a cost-free basis to absorb more of the rainwater that's part and parcel of climate change. And they've also introduced a leadership civics class that's now being taught as a full course in Trenton High School. And they're working now on neighborhood improvement policy and other policies as well. Newark is doing the same, Perth Amboy is doing the same, soon a trust will emerge in Plainfield, and more will spread across the state as we move forward with the Civic Challenge. Taken together, these building blocks of solution-focused communities with an ever-expanding movement of civic pledges will not only build a stronger politics and government in our communities, they'll prime voters to pick their elected officials based on the solutions that they offer and not the sound bites that they give. What we want is an end to the blame game. What we want is solutions. So today, I join my fellow civic trustees to issue a civic challenge to our families, our friends, and our communities. Join us, and together we can rebuild our politics and our government from the bottom up. Thank you very much.